All three of these animals, Snickers, Smudge, and John, they all were animals that came to us through Animal Services. We have a contract with Animal Services where we are providing all their veterinary care. The majority of our animals at our shelter do come from Animal Services originally, the sick and the injured that just really needed the extra care that they're not able to get down at Animal Services. So we move them down to our clinic, and then eventually they end up into our shelter. So one of them is a kitty cat named Smudge, and he's real sweetheart, always cuddling with somebody. First thing that we noticed about him was that he had something wrong with his arm, and we took x-rays, and it turns out he has a congenital deformity of his front leg. It kind of makes him look like he has a little chicken wing instead of a front leg. And after we'd had him for a little bit longer, we started really noticing that he had some issues with one of his eyes. He had what's called entropion, which is a medical condition where the eyelid curls around, and so some of his hair was rubbing on his eye and making it irritated. We did a little surgery to correct his eyelid and get that feeling better. He's a great kitty. Everybody really loves him. He comes and cuddles with everybody.
And I think he knows that he's loved. He's a very happy, sweet kitty cat.
And he's going to be available for adoption soon. Another kitty that we have back in the medical area is a kitty cat named John. He came in through Animal Services and was injured. He had a wound on his hip area, which was pretty extensive and open. He was pretty wild when he first came in because he was just so frightened by the whole process of coming in injured into the shelter. But we worked with him, and very quickly he realized that he was in a safe, good place. And as we got to know his personality, we picked up on some kind of differences with the way he moves. He has a very high-stepping gait and kind of a head bob where he moves his head back and forth as he's going about his business. We diagnosed him with something called cerebellar hypoplasia, which is an underdevelopment of part of his brain, something that happens usually when a mother cat is exposed to viruses during her pregnancy. It doesn't really affect him in that he's not going to get worse, he's not going to feel sick. He just has unique balance, and so he kind of is every which way when he's walking around. He's very spirited and fun.
Once he gets his fix of affection, then he is just silly and goofy, and he rolls around and he plays with toys and he runs. He is just a really goofy boy with loads of personality.
You pretty boy.
Snickers is a really sweet young dog. Came in through Animal Services. He had some sort of accident where he had ended up jumping off of an overpass or a bridge, and he landed really, really hard on his front forelegs, and he broke his wrist. He was obviously very uncomfortable when he first came in, but he was still very sweet with us. We needed to do what's called a bilateral carpal arthrodesis.
Snickers. Snickers.
We were able to find a great foster home. We really appreciate all of our foster volunteers because we were able to move Snickers from being in a kennel at the shelter into a home environment for his recovery.
Hi, Snitch. Oh, look at you.
I thought he might be a mama's boy.
Both of his wrist joints have been fused so that they have just kind of a very stiff, instead of bending back and forth, it's just very stiff joint. And that way he can walk on them and they're comfortable now.
He got, oh, you got different colored legs.
Come on, let's go this way.
He's doing really well now, walking really well. He does have just a tiny limp on the left side, but he's very comfortable and happy.
Come here, Snicks. He's so sweet. He's very loving. He loves to watch TV on the sofa right next to you. He's a good little fetcher. We're learning how to fetch the ball. And he's just a nice dog. He's got a great temperament.
We have this great relationship with Animal Services down there, and we have our Ray of Hope program, which helps us fund all the care for those sick and injured animals. We're helping animals in our community, we're helping people in our community, and we just really appreciate the opportunity to be of that kind of service. And we just really appreciate all the donors who are able to help us with helping them.